So in this video, I wanted to talk about sleep and recovery restoration of your body. So sleep is extremely important, and I think I'd just like to discuss what goes on during sleep. When you fall asleep, there's a bit of an introductory period, and then you plummet immediately into deep sleep. This kind of deep sleep is very slow brain waves. It's a very particular state of mind. You don't have dreams during that state of sleep, and your brain kind of fundamentally goes to a very inactive state in many ways, almost resting basically. Then after a long period of that in your first cycle of sleep, you'll go into REM sleep, which is where you dream. Your body is physically paralyzed during that type of sleep, and your eyes twitch around, rapid eye movement, REM. And that's the type of sleep in which your body actually recovers, hence the paralysis of your physical movement being helpful. So sleep happens in intervals, 90-minute intervals. So as you go through the night, you'll have your first 90, second 90, third 90, and the body basically sinks back into this ride over and over again. As the night wears on, the amount of time spent in deep sleep decreases and the amount of time spent in REM sleep increases. In general, for adults, you want to have 6 hours of sleep at the minimum for normal healthy brain function, but really 7.5 or 9 hours is much more optimal. Something to note is during your wake-up time, you ideally want to wake up at the beginning or the end of each of these 90-minute intervals. If you wake up during REM cycle, or much worse during a deep sleep cycle, then it's going to throw your brain way off. It wasn't really ready for that. So the ideal time to wake up is at the end of the last cycle. So in other words, you want 6 hours or 7.5 hours or 9 hours. And you can set your alarm in accordance with that. If it takes you about 15 minutes to fall asleep, then set your alarm for X number of hours after that, 7.5, let's say, plus the minutes till you fall asleep. And you should be in that zone of being almost awake. So that's how to sleep properly. Sleep is extremely important. We spend a huge amount of our lives doing it, and it's not really something you want to take lightly. So make sure you sleep in an environment that's dark enough, that's quiet enough for your body to go through this important restoration period in peace and with the most ideal possible conditions for it. So invest in sleep, understand sleep, and every other part of your life is going to be a lot better. Second part is recovery from workouts. If you work out, you're actually getting less fit during the workout. During the workout, your body gets weaker, more stressed. It's sort of counterproductive seemingly. And post-workout, you will be tired and worn out, hopefully, if you worked out hard enough. So why work out then? Basically, the body gets stressed, but then wants to recover itself and improve to a higher level. Different aspects of a human being need different types of love, and the type of love the human body needs is actually stress. In the physical world, it needs and wants to be put under stress, and it wants to be able to have the chance to react to that by developing, whether it's by increasing muscle size, strength, endurance, cardiovascular output, or whatever other fitness parameter. So basically, recovery is where you make your gains. So ways to properly recover, I've already spoken about eating right after the workout. Basically giving yourself enough time in between workouts that you fully recover or mostly recover back to a normal state. You don't want to be overtraining where you constantly work out and you're overwhelming your body with this stimulus and stress. You don't want to be underworking where you work out one time and then wait another 4 days and really your body is not really challenged at all by it. The body's simply going to recover from the amount of work you put it through. So basically put it through the correct amount of work, kind of in the middle of the bell curve where you're mostly recovered by the time of the next workout, but probably not fully. As a last note, talking about injuries, use proper technique when you work out. If you don't know it, you can look it up. Make sure to practice the technique before you use it with heavy weights or work out really hard. You want to feel like you're within the zone of your capability, you don't want to be straining or stressing yourself too hard. And you should know it. It should feel kind of bad and a little bit risky, and that's probably because it is. Meanwhile, if you stay within kind of your capability zone, you shouldn't get many injuries at all. If you do get injuries, it's common, it's okay. It's what you got to do is rest, ice, compression, and elevation. Rest is the most important one. Ice can be helpful as well. Stay off whatever muscle or tendon or whatever it was for a period of time, and then slowly work it back in. You can't rush that process. Anyway, thanks for listening to this video, and yeah, thanks for watching.